The film begins in 1954. The main character, traveling salesman Ray Kroc, is trying to sell a diner owner a multi-mixer for simultaneously making 5 milkshakes. After receiving another rejection, he drags the heavy device into the trunk of his car, where his previously ordered lunch awaits. The cafe workers can't handle the flow of orders.
Miss, how much longer?
It should just be a few more minutes.
I said that 20 minutes ago.
I'm so sorry. We're really busy today.
After driving another 27 miles to another town to sell the mixer, he gets rejected again. Nobody needs it. Disappointed, he drives home. In the evening, he talks with his wife on the phone from his hotel room, after which he listens to a self-help audiobook that says a successful businessman must be persistent. The next day, he drives to another town again to offer his mixer. After another failure, he calls his secretary June Martino. She reports that some cafe owners from California ordered 6 multi-mixers at once. Ray is sure it's a mistake, since nobody has ever bought mixers in such volumes. He decides to call the number left himself to clarify whether the owner made a mistake.
Hello? McDonald's?
Hello, good afternoon. May I please speak with your owner?
Through the noise and din of the working kitchen, Dick McDonald admits he made a mistake. Ray thought so.
Could make 30 milkshakes at a time.
Better make it 8. What's that now?
Dick McDonald asks to ship the mixers by mail, but intrigued by this sudden success, Ray decides to deliver the mixers himself and looks at a map of how to get to California. He sets off to personally see who agreed to buy such a batch. Arriving in San Bernardino, our hero notices a giant line near a diner selling burgers for 15 cents. He's surprised. He's never seen anything like this. The woman in front of him reassures him that they serve very quickly here. When his turn comes, he places his order and almost immediately receives his portion.
No. I just ordered. And now it's here. You sure?
Ray, forced by his job to eat at similar joints, is very surprised by the speed and also the absence of dishes. No fork or plate needed. Hamburgers are wrapped in disposable paper packaging that you simply throw away. He sits down to eat on a nearby bench and notices a man sweeping up trash left by customers. It turns out to be Mac McDonald, co-owner of the joint. Ray introduces himself and expresses admiration for the well-organized work, after which they give him a tour of the kitchen. Inside, Mac shows the cooking process. Hamburgers are cooked several portions at a time, thanks to know-how they assembled themselves. Cooking goes continuously and quickly, so customers don't have to wait long. Ray also meets Mac's brother, Dick. He's extremely busy supervising quality, so he has no time to chat with the guest. After all, at McDonald's, everything must be fast and quality.
The fries, what about them?
They're 5% too crisp.
Oh, they're perfect.
An impressed Ray invites the brothers to dinner to hear their story. In the evening, they tell how they've been working toward success for a long time, but their initial plans didn't bring the expected profit. Having worked as drivers, they saved up for a movie theater, but it soon went under due to the Great Depression. Drawing conclusions based on the success of a hot dog stand, the brothers decide to open their own diner. People always want to eat, even during an economic crisis. So they opened their first cafe in Arcadia, then moved to San Bernardino. They even had to disassemble the building to get under a bridge. At the new location, everything went well after opening, but soon sales dropped due to teenagers occupying the parking lots and waitresses getting distracted, flirting for tips, which significantly reduced work speed. Calculating that the main sales came from 3 items, hamburgers, drinks, and French fries, the brothers cut the menu, removed cigarette machines, and switched to paper bags. But that wasn't enough. The McDonald's strived to reduce order wait times and increase customer flow. To plan the kitchen, they drew plans on a tennis court while employees pretended to work. Thus, through trial and error, Dick identified the optimal layout. The revolutionary idea nearly failed when on opening day customers waited by their cars for waitresses. People were used to being served by someone, so Mac had to personally call them to the order window. Many refused the innovative approach and drove away. Even a grand show in the evening didn't help. Hail started, scaring away all the customers. The brothers, resigned to failure, were figuring out how to return to the old format when a little boy knocked on the window. Mac made free burgers for him as the last customer, but soon more customers drove up to the establishment. They told friends about the joint, and soon there were lines in front of the first McDonald's. That's how the brothers' first success with the burger joint began after 30 years. At night, Ray tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. He understands what success the brothers have had and wants it too. In the morning, he meets the brothers in the parking lot and suggests they expand.
Franchise. Beg pardon? Franchise. Franchise the damn thing.
The brothers don't appreciate this idea, since they've already tried. They opened a couple of locations in other cities, but it was problematic to monitor product quality and employee work there, so they abandoned such ideas. Due to stress, Mac even ended up in the hospital. Ray also notices a photo concept hanging on the wall for a diner building with 2 yellow arches encircling the cafe. They built a location in Phoenix based on this concept. Ray decides to drive there to see it in person. The closed establishment, shining golden in the night, enchants him. He stands before it and admires it, then returns home. Ray tells his wife about the brothers and their know-how, but she recommends not investing in a new business. After all, he keeps investing in businesses that don't make money, like with the mixers. Ray returns to work with mixers, getting rejection after rejection. While traveling through small towns across the country, he observes places where, in theory, he could open a McDonald's franchise. After another rejection, he decides to make one more attempt to convince the brothers.
If you boys don't want a franchise for yourselves, that's fine. Do it for your country.
He finally convinces the brothers that a McDonald's franchise could become a kind of symbol of America, like churches and the flag, unite the nation around food and promote family values. After Ray's long pitch, Mac convinces Dick to agree, and soon they sign a contract with Ray that was competently drafted by a lawyer. While the brothers work at their place, he'll handle promoting the franchise across the country. Ray goes to banks to get a loan, but bankers recognize him from past unsuccessful visits and refuse. And he has to mortgage his house to get money and begin construction of the first McDonald's. However, the brothers slow down the process a bit. The thing is, Ray wants to build the cafe on a foundation, and any changes must be approved by Dick. During such a conversation, Ray hangs up and doesn't let Dick finish. They also shut down the idea of an advertising partnership with Coca-Cola, which angers Ray.
However, this is a concept that goes beyond our core beliefs. McDonald's was founded with the idea...
Ray calls the brothers again and tries to persuade them, and not getting an answer, hangs up again. Mac calms Dick down, and despite all the discord, soon the first McDonald's opens in Des Plaines. Ray personally supervises the employees' work to meet high standards. He also notices a capable cook, Fred Turner, who's good at grilling patties. In the evenings, Ray, like Mac, personally cleans the area around the cafe. Later, Ray tells his idea to his companions at the local club. Playing golf, he talks them into investing in the franchise and opening their own locations. They agree, but after some time, he decides to visit them. Ray sees there's no quality control there. The menu contains various dishes. The territory is dirty, unsanitary, and the food quality is disgusting. Angrily, he voices complaints to his business partners, but they couldn't care less about his concerns. The brothers are also shocked at how quickly branches are developing across the country. This failure forces Ray to reconsider his development strategy. The next day, a Bible salesman comes to his office and Ray sees himself in him. He pays attention to the wanderer and suggests he invest in the next location. Without thinking long, he accepts our hero's offer and opens a joint with his wife, who hands out candy to children during the opening. This greatly inspires Ray, whose wife doesn't support his venture much. In addition, the fast food restaurant chain positions itself as a family cafe, to which the couple adds extra charm. Ray understands he needs to attract not the wealthy who don't care how the business works, but on the contrary, those who have their last money left to open a franchise. The next day, Ray and his wife visit diners where they talk with the middle class, especially with couples. He talks them into getting involved in the McDonald's franchise. This policy bears fruit. Traveling across the country, Ray recruits more and more managers who open their own cafes and pay him and the brothers percentages of the profits. At this time, the brothers learn that our hero calls the Des Plaines location the first McDonald's restaurant, which they don't really like. At the opening of another location, Ray is met by an enthusiastic crowd along with cheerleaders. He realizes he's achieved success. Later at dinner in a restaurant with investors, he meets the restaurant owner, who also wants to invest in the fast food chain. After all, he knows the restaurant business very well. Ray's attention is drawn to his new colleague's wife. She's playing the piano, and Ray is speechless. And afterwards, he even performs a song with her. On the plane on the way home, he hears passengers sitting next to him discussing the new fast food restaurant chain across America. Ray smiles. Upon returning home, he brags to his wife that now investors are seeking meetings with him themselves. And it would seem things are looking up. However, a financial problem soon surfaces. The deductions he's entitled to under the contract aren't enough to operate. Ray calls Dick to improve the terms, since he's only getting 1.4%, but the brothers refuse. The older brother calms the younger one down again, but he doesn't want to listen. On top of that, due to being late on the loan, the bank wants to take his house, which his wife finds out about since he hadn't told her anything. Ray goes to the bank and says they had no right to call him at his personal number, but the banker responds that Ray's work phone was simply unavailable. After arguing with the bankers, the man visits the branch that Joan opened with her husband, and later they meet for dinner, the three of them. The woman suggests switching to powdered extract for milkshakes, which would save money on ice cream and energy for the refrigerators they store it in.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Joan treats Ray to a mixed shake.
What do you think?
I think I'm drinking a delicious vanilla milkshake.
And he agrees it's a great idea. His interest in the woman who shares his ideals grows. However, Dick fundamentally refuses to switch to powdered shakes. After all, this destroys company policy. And Dick hangs up first, though usually Ray did that. Ray asks the banker for another loan, but receives a logical refusal. However, his speech is heard by Harry Sonneborn, a financial consultant. He offers the businessman his help. After studying the contract, Harry finds a loophole and suggests getting into real estate acquisition where the McDonalds stand. By renting them out, Ray can make a profit regardless of the brothers' decisions, since the brothers only decide matters inside the restaurant, not outside. For this, Ray organizes a new corporation, which Dick doesn't like very much, and he calls Ray. Nevertheless, our hero stands his ground. Formally, he's not violating the terms of the current agreement. In addition, the restaurant chain is growing. Ray is interviewed, and his photo graces magazine covers where he's featured as director and founder of McDonald's. But soon he decides to disobey Dick and transfer all locations to powdered extract to save money. He personally brings the first batch to Joan. Later that night, in secret, they discuss expansion prospects on the phone while Ray's wife pretends to sleep in an empty bed. She heard everything. Dick learns that the businessman gave the go-ahead for powdered shakes and expresses his disagreement. He threatens a lawsuit, but Ray refuses to comply. His current financial position will allow him to drown his opponent in legal costs and simply bankrupt the two brothers.
Contracts are like hearts. They're made to be broken.
Later at dinner with his wife, eating vegetables, our hero admits he wants a divorce. However, in dividing the property, he gives her everything, both the house and the car, but refuses to transfer even one share of the company to her. He'd rather die than share the company with her. Later, he sends Dick the new powdered extract with a letter bearing the McDonald's logo. The brothers argue with him over the phone, and from the stress, Mac falls unconscious. Later, Ray visits him in the hospital and offers a blank check as payment for their share of the business. They're free to write in any amount. After thinking for some time, the brothers agree. They can't compete with a huge company. Dick calls Ray, and among their conditions are not only a lump sum payment, but also the right to keep their cafe that they opened, as well as perpetual payments of 1% of profits. Ray doesn't agree at first, but the lawyers convince him to meet them halfway. At the same time, he insists that the deal about the 1% profit payment will be concluded verbally and sealed with a handshake, and not documented in writing. This is done so that bankers, when issuing loans, don't pay attention to an additional, rather problematic clause. Reluctantly, the brothers agree to meet the businessman halfway, who has already deceived them once. Later in the bathroom, our hero admits to Dick that all the success is built not only on their kitchen innovations, but also on the McDonald's name itself, which sounds very American. Lawyers take away the brothers' right to use the surname in the diner's name, which is why the sign is partially dismantled. At this time, right across the street, a full-fledged official McDonald's is being built, the 100th one. Ray cuts the red ribbon, then nostalgically and smugly looks at the building where it all began.
I'd like to do a profile of you pegged to the opening of your 100th location.
Sure. Call my office.
Sure thing. All right.
The scene moves to 1970. Ray Kroc rehearses in front of a mirror in his mansion a speech for a meeting with California Senator Ronald Reagan, the future president. Joan, his current wife, watches him. In the finale, archival footage plays of an interview with the real Ray Kroc, who talks about how he understood that McDonald's is an American word. The film ends with credits containing information about the further fate of the story's participants. Secretary June Martino became a co-owner of the corporation and the first woman allowed to trade on the New York Stock Exchange. Fred Turner, a former cook, replaced Ray as senior chairman. Under his leadership, the franchise appeared in more than 100 countries. Harry Sonneborn became the first president and CEO, but due to disagreements with Ray, left in 1967. Joan lived with Ray in marriage until his death in 1984, after which she spent $1.5 billion on charity. Today, McDonald's is the largest real estate owner in the world, and 1% of all people on the planet eat at restaurants with golden arches forming the letter M. Dick and Mac's business couldn't withstand competition with the restaurant that opened across the street with their surname and went under after a few years. They never received the promised profit payments, since no evidence of such a deal remained. Today, 1% of the McDonald's fast food restaurant chain's profit amounts to more than $100 million a year.